President, please be seated. The court is now in session. This afternoon, the chamber will start to hear the testimony of a civil party to TCP 1016. Court officer, please invite the civil party into the courtroom. You can now proceed, Counsel for Kirstenpon.
Je profite.
Yes, Mr. President, let me take advantage of the civil party arriving. And I'm taking advantage of this to request from the chamber, following its decision this morning, if we will be hearing witness 1011 or not. We would like to know which witness will be appearing following the civil party tomorrow, because now we're a little bit confused.
President, the chamber would like to remind the parties once again about the ruling on the request of the co-prosecutor. This morning, the chamber has ruled orally in relation to that request, and the chamber is now considering and consulting with the vessels with the availability of witnesses. And this morning we have decided already in relation to 2 TCW 1017 this morning. And regarding the witnesses to come and testify in the week before the Khmer New Year, the chamber will inform the parties today. The chamber is now facing the scheduling of the hearings, and particularly is considering the witnesses to come and testify in response to the request by the defense counsel for Nguyen Chia, and the request of Nguyen Chia is to hold the hearings in relation to S21 after the Khmer New Year. So the chamber is now doing its utmost to ensure that hearings are held to the maximum without any challenges before the chamber.
Email will come today. Email for next. Sorry, scheduling email for next week comes today, later today.
Good afternoon, civil party. What is your name? Answer. My name is Sun Wood. President, thank you, Mr. Sun Wood. Do you recall when you were born? Answer. I was born in 1957. Thank you. Question. Where is your birthplace? Answer. I was living Giang Commune, Phu District, Siem Reap Province. President, please listen to the question carefully, and please think before you answer, and please also consider whether or not you understand well the question. There will be possibly many questions from other parties in relation to this case, and the case in this court is complicated and complex. So if you do not understand the question clearly, you will have trouble answering those questions. So please give a little bit pause before you answer. By doing so, you have some time to think of the question. And also, while you are giving a little bit pause, your testimonies will go through the sound system. And in this court, 3 working languages are used, and interpretation is provided into Khmer, English, and French. Where are you living now? Answer. My address is at Banti Cha village, Chongkal district, Odominche province. Question. What is your current occupation? Answer. I am a rice farmer. Question. What are your parents' names? My mother's name is Sun Vang. My father's name is Sad Bit. President, once again, what is your father's name and what is your mother's name? My father's name is Sad Bit. Question. What about your mother's name? Answer. My mother's name is Sun Vang. Question. What is your wife's name and how many children do you have? My wife's name is Len Nam. My child's name is Vot Cheng. President, how many children do you have? Just specify how many children you have. Answer, I have 1 child. Please do not hold the microphone. There is someone operating the system for you, particularly the microphone. I know that you do not know well how to operate and turn on and off the microphone. That is why the AV technician is dealing the matter for you. So please merely look at the tip of the microphone. And court officer, please move the microphone a little bit away from him so that he could see the red light on the tip of microphone, which is the signal indicating that the microphone is operating. President, Mr. Sun Vot, today you are invited here as a civil party. As a civil party before this chamber, at the end of your testimony, you are entitled to make a victim's impact statement, if any, concerning the crimes and harms suffered by you during the Democratic Cambodia. Have you ever provided interviews to the investigators of the Office of the Co-Investigating Judges of the Extraordinary Chamber in the Courts of Cambodia so far? Answer. I was interviewed twice. Question. When did that? When did they take? When did they take place? And where did they happen? Where did you provide your interviews the first time and the second time? Answer. The first time the interview was conducted at Banti Chas Commune, Jongkal District, Odon Miền Chây Province. President, what about the second time? Answer. It was conducted in Phnom Penh. President, are you confused in relation to your interviews? In relation to K002, I am now asking you about whether or not the investigators of the OCIJ who went to interview you officially in relation to K002, when you were interviewed, were you told of their position while they are interviewing you? Answer. First time it was ad hoc, which was the organization interviewing me. President, thank you. So it was not the investigation office from this ECCCC. Based on the internal rule 91 of the ECCC, the floor is first given to the co-lawyers for civil parties to put question before other parties. The combined time for the co-prosecutors and lead co-lawyer for civil parties is 2 sessions. You have the floor now. Good afternoon, Mr. President, Your Honors. May I seek the floor for Lao Chun Thi, the civil party lawyers, to put question to the civil party. President, your request is granted. You have the floor now, Lao Chun Thi. Lao Chun Thi. Thank you, Mr. President. Good morning, the chamber. Good afternoon, rather. Good afternoon, Mr. Sun Vut. I am Lao Chun Thi, the lawyer for civil parties. I am from the legal aids of Cambodia. Now I'm asking you about your experience. You went through from 17 April 1975 to 6 January 1979. That is to say, is it within the Democratic Cambodia regime? First of all, I have several questions in relation to your own background. First, when did you join the army? In which year you joined the army? Answer. I joined the army in 1974. Lawyer, thank you. What was the reason that led you to become a soldier, and which part of army you were in at the time? Answer. It was because of the Khmer Rouge or the Democratic Cambodia who sent me to be a soldier. Question. Could you give a brief response to my question? Did you voluntarily join the army? Answer. No. I was called, I was required by Angkar. Lawyer, in relation to your experience after you had become a soldier, did you ever engage in any battlefields? Answer. After I had been sent to be a soldier, I was engaged in the battlefields along Wat Dong Kham or Dong Kham Pagoda, Pu district, and Num Kram's location. Lawyer, thank you. What about later on? Which battlefields were you engaged in? Answer. After the battlefield at Pu district, I was dispatched to Phnom Penh. At the time, I was dispatched to join the battlefield at Odong Tropang Pri along the location near Prasad Mountain. And then I was moved to Khmuin Kapsarel. That was the time that I was engaged in the later battlefields later on. Question. When did you return to Mundalgiri? Answer. After the liberation of Phnom Penh in 1975, I was sent and dispatched the Division 920 to give protection or guard the border at close to Vietnam. Lawyer, which location specifically are you referring to in relation to the border that you have just mentioned? President, please observe the microphone, Mr. Civil Party, before you speak. Answer. It was at Koh district. But as for the battlefield, I was dispatched to Odadam, Opal, Meraj. Those were the battlefields at the border. Question. What was your relation with the commander of your commander? Did you have any relation with your commander? Answer. Tachin was my chief or commander of Division 920, and the Choi was the deputy. I was dispatched to protect the border in Mandalgiri. Lawyer, could you expand a little bit? What was your specific function and role at the time? At the time, I was assigned to be in charge of a company. Question, were you not a messenger of Tachin? Is that correct? Answer, that is correct. Answer, yes, that is true that I was his personal messenger at the beginning, and later on I was assigned to be in charge of a company working close to him. Question, when you were a messenger of Da Chen, when was that? Answer, after I was a messenger for 2 months. After the liberation of Phnom Penh, he returned to Mandalgiri, in which time I was appointed to be chief of a company. Lawyer, thank you. I would like to seek a clarification from you. After you had returned to Mandalgiri, were you sent for participating and attending the military training session? Answer, I was sent to Phnom Penh to join the military training sessions at Baijan. I did not know the specific location at the time, but I was at the north of Pojantong to attend the military strategies, and I was in that training for 1 month, and then I was sent back to be refashioned at Karachi. Lawyer, first you were sent to attend the training session in Phnom Penh, and then later on you were further sent to Karachi to join another training session. Is that correct? Answer, yes. I was further sent to Karachi after that trainings in Phnom Penh. Lawyer, thank you. After you left Karachi, where did you go? Answer, I was posted in Mandalgiri. I was sent to protect the border, and I was asked to install spies along the border at Old Dam and Maraj up to the border of Opul, and I was posted along the border. Spies were prepared and installed along the border, and trenches or pits were dug to comply with the plans to protect the territory integrity of the country. Lawyer, thank you. I am now moving to another topic in relation to your own experience. Was there an event where your leaders or leader was arrested? Answer. There was an event. My leader or commander was called to attend a training session, and they were all taken to be killed because of under the accusation of betraying Angka. I did not know why they were accused of such offense since we were working and complying with and respecting Angka. 1 month later, after the arrest of my commanders, all the soldiers were told that please be cautious that you may have been linked to your commander's network. And they said that they accuse us, perhaps they have been betraying Angka. And later on, I was arrested, and I did not know the reason why I was arrested. Just I was the one who respect Angka and comply with the plans of Angka since the beginning, and I was loyal to Angka. At the beginning, it was said that I was loyal to Angka, and I worked for Angka. And later on, at a later stage, I was arrested, and they accused me that I counterattacked Angka. I did not know how to respond to the accusation because I know that whether answering or not to their question whether I betrayed Angka, I would be killed. I did not know who would come to kill me at the time, but it did not happen.
Question. Can you tell the names of your superiors who were arrested at the time? Answer. In the division, there were Ta Chen, Ta Soy, Comrade Kol, and Comrade Non, and Comrade Yang as well. They were arrested and they disappeared. I didn't know whether they were sent for education or study session, but they were accused of betraying Angka, and they were sent to Phnom Penh, and I heard that they were sent to Tulslang prison. I didn't flee because I didn't betray Angka at all. I was so loyal to Angka, and my commanders never said anything against Angka. Question. Can you tell the chamber the circumstances around your arrest? What did they do to you, for example, and where you were taken to? Answer. I knew that those who came to arrest us were from Division 801, including the commander, that is Ta Sarun or Ta 05. They sent their forces to arrest soldiers in the Division 920, and after that they sent their troops to replace us. They said that we soldiers in Division 920 betrayed Angka, so they sent their troops to replace us. I was tortured severely after my arrest, and I myself was not aware at all of the reason for the arrest. 3 people came to point their guns at me and asked the reason for that, and they said that I betrayed Angkar. And they ordered me to raise my hand, and after I did that, they blindfolded me with a chroma or scarf, and then I was taken away. I felt so painful for that action because I did not betray Angkar at all. I tried to serve my best through Angkar and the revolution. Question. Thank you, Mr. Witness. Please respond rather short and precise to the point that I put to you. You actually have not responded in full to my question. You said that you were blindfolded, and can you tell us where you were taken to? Answer. I was blindfolded, so I could not see where I was taken through. However, after they took off the blindfold, I could see the surrounding area. I was placed in a prison in Oj Ba, that is to the south of Koh Nhiech. There was a hill there, and from where I was, I could see that I was there at that hill. Question. So you said that you were taken to a location in Oj Ba. Can you describe the surroundings of the area that you were taken through, that is in Oj Ba? And you said that the blindfold, they took out the blindfold from you, so you could see the surroundings. Answer. I cannot everything in detail. However, there was a stream which is called Oj Ba. And as I said, there is a small mountain or a hill nearby, near the forest. And there was a prison there, and I did not know how long the prison had been built. That building was 10 meters long and 5 to 6 meters wide. There were 3 rooms within that building. Initially, I was placed in a room to the south in that building, and I was detained alone. However, 2 days later, 2 more detainees were placed in that room with me, maybe because the other 2 rooms were full of detainees. Question. Allow me to clarify one thing with you. Upon your arrival, were you shackled or cuffed? Answer. Yes, my ankles were shackled and my hands were cuffed. Question. Can you describe the cuff or the shackles? Answer. In fact, the shackles were made from wood, and they make holes where my ankles were inserted, and that's how they shackled my ankle. And about a week after, they only shackled one ankle and one hand, so my other ankle and hand were free. And a few days later, I was interrogated whether I was loyal to Angkar, and if I were, then I would not be killed. I did not know how to respond to that question. Questioned. Let me go back to your description of the surrounding area. Can you tell the chamber what the prison was made of? For example, the roof and the walls. Answer. The building was made from rather big poles, wooden poles, and they actually dug into the ground up to knee deep, and that we would not be able to move those poles. And the roof was made of thatch, and it was also called Pracheng. That was the ethnic language of Phnom, and in fact it referred to a theatre as well. And the wall was made from wooden plank, although it was not properly anchored, as we could actually see through some gaps between the planks. Question. Can you tell the chamber were there other buildings besides that main prison building? And were there any female or children detainees? Answer. There were no other houses. However, there was a shelter for the guards to live, and there was also a building for interrogation. And I could hear the voices of some female detainees, although I cannot figure out how many of them they were. Question. You said that you were interrogated. Were you taken from that building to another location for interrogation? And were you tortured during that interrogation? Answer. I was taken out from that prison to a hut where I was interrogated. They actually shocked me with electricity cable, and I lost my consciousness. And I thought that I died after I felt unconscious. And when I gained my consciousness, they shocked me again. And after that relapse, they actually beat me up and interrogated me. And of course, I was still conscious after I was being beaten. But I did not know how to respond to those questions, since none of the commanders ever told me to betray Angkar. I did not know anything about betraying Angkar. Ta Soi and Ta Chen never told me to betray Angkar, or that I should flee from the regime at all. And they accused me that I was within their network. Question. How far was the hut where you were interrogated from where you were detained? Answer. It was about 50 meters away from where I was detained. Question. You have provided some description of the events that you were interrogated, that you were shocked, electrical shocked, and torture. What did they actually want from you? Or can you try to recall the questions that were put to you? Answer. They put question to me whether I betrayed the Angkar and that I followed my commanders, or that I colluded with the Vietnamese side. They accused me of having a Khmer body with a Vietnamese head. And if I did not confess, then I would be killed. That's how they threatened me during that interrogation. But I did not know how to respond, because I did not know anything about betrayal. Question. During the period of your detention, were you provided with proper food? Answer. Initially, after I was arrested, I was not given any food for that whole day. And the following day, I was given a very little rice. The rice was about the size of my wrist, and they put some water in a coconut shell for me to drink. Question. During your detention, you were interrogated, and were at any point you were released? And if so, what were the reasons? Answer. Maybe to you it's a superstition, because one night I dreamed that my parents told me that the local spirits would help me, and that I should flee, and if I do not flee the next day, then I would be taken away and killed. That's what my dream told me. And after I woke up, I was thinking about that. How could I escape? Because my hand was cuffed. But somehow I could manage to release the cuff from my hand, and then I tried to release my ankle from the shackle. And maybe the spirit of my mother saved me. I could somehow manage to have my ankle freed from the shackle, and then I have the other two detainees who were detained in the same building, and we could flee. As for the other two detainees, only one of their ankles were shackled. So we ran away, and for about 500 meters from where we were detained, and one of the detainees still had the shackle on the ankle, but we managed to get rid of it. And in fact, at that time, the guards were sleeping about 10 meters away from where we were detained, but they didn't wake up. And if I was there, then we would be killed by the people there, including Payne. They were the executioners. They accused us of betraying Angkar, and they came from Division 801 to arrest us in Division 920. So since we were arrested, our fate was with them. And when I was beaten up, I told them that I didn't do anything wrong. Question: you made mention of a person named Payne. Can you tell the chamber who he was and what was his involvement in that prison? Answer: Payne was a group chief in the old division, but when he was transferred from or reassigned from Division 801, previous chiefs were not allowed to be in repositioned, and they were replaced by new chiefs, as some chiefs were sent for a study session or their authority had been revoked. So, since the new chiefs could not actually manage the fighting with the Vietnamese, they needed the former chiefs again to lead the soldiers to fight the Vietnamese. Question. Allow me to backtrack a little bit. After you fled from that prison, where did you go? And so I fled from the prison and I went through the forest until 1986, says the witness. And when I returned, I heard about the death of my mother and father and relatives, and that they were killed without given any reasons. In before 1975, my father was a first deputy of a commune, that is during the Republic regime, and after the fall of that regime, he went to live in Thailand. During the regime, he knew that they tried to get rid of the capitalist groups, and only the illiterate were put in a place to lead the people. And we learned of that information from chief of the commune, that my mother should go and bring my father back, otherwise every member of the family would be killed. Upon hearing that, my mother was very worried, so she went to Thailand to meet with my father. And actually he refused to return, and my mother told my father that if we did not return, then the rest of the family members would be killed. Upon hearing that, my father said goodbye to his close friend in Thailand and returned with my mother. 2 days after their arrival, my father was sent for study session in Angkor Chum district, and everybody who was sent there died and never returned. 2 days after he was sent for that study session, my mother learned that my father had been killed, and that's what happened. He was taken away and killed. Question. And what about your siblings? Did anything happen to them? Answer. After my father had been arrested, My three siblings were arrested, and one of my other siblings was a former Lunal soldier who was a second lieutenant, and he was sent for a study session and disappeared. Another sibling was a former teacher. He was sent and disappeared as well. And another sibling was sent away and disappeared. So all of my parents and siblings disappeared. And in fact, I also lost some of my relatives, that is, cousins and nieces. There were 8 of them all together. They were accused of betraying Angka. Question. How did you learn of the fate of your siblings or your relatives, and also in which year that you learned of this information? Answer. I learned of that information in 1986 when I returned. While I was living along the border area, I did not hear anything about them, and only after I returned, then I was told that my relatives had been sent away and killed. I felt so painful. I served the revolution. I served Angka with my full heart. I defended the country, but as a result, my parents, siblings, and relatives were killed. That was unbearable. And every time I think of that, I simply want to kill myself. And I became speechless. Question. You didn't tell the court yet about specific events in relation to the fate of your parents and siblings. Can you try to tell the chamber in which year that they were killed? Answer. It was 1976, says the witness, that my relatives had been sent away and killed. Thank you, Mr. President. I don't have any further question for the civil party. Thank you. But, Mr. President, I'd like to put some supplementary questions to the civil party. My name is Pei Ong. I am the national lead co-lawyer for civil parties, and I have some questions to put to civil party. Mr. Civil Party, besides the two commanders of Division 920, do you recall other names of cadres or leading cadres in that division? Answer, yes, I do. There were brother 06, that is Dasan. He originally came from Prey Prasop district in Krathi province. And there was Ta Le. Ta Le was in charge of logistics within the division. He was an ethnic minority. Questioned. The two individuals that you mentioned, that is Taler and Dasan, were they originally with Division 920, or were they transferred from somewhere else to 920, and if so, when? Answer. They came to take their duties in Division 920 after my previous commanders had been arrested, that is Tachin and Tasoy. So they sent their people from Division 801 to take control of Division 920, including Tassan, that is brother 06. Question, do you know Tarong? Answer, yes, I know Tarong. Question, and what was his position at the time, and what happened to him later on? President, Civil Party, please observe the microphone. Civil Party, during the time that they were accused of betraying, Tarong was also arrested. Question, was he arrested? That is, during the time that Soy was also arrested. Answer, no, it happened at a different time. He was arrested at a later stage. Question, can you tell us the circumstances in relation to the arrest of these three people? For example, there were some events that happened in that province. Answer, they were sent for study session in Phnom Penh, and they disappeared since. And from what I heard, they were accused of betraying Angkar, although I did not know exactly what happened. Question, and after their disappearance, you said that there were replacements, namely Ta Son, says the Civil Party lawyer. Who were those replacements to take control of Division 920, and did you know any of them, and how many of them altogether? Answer, they came to take control of Division 920, including Tasan and Taler. And below them, there were Comrade Sarun. This is not the Sarun, the commander of the division. This Sarun was in charge of a company. And there was Comrade Lay as well. And I recall another comrade, that is Comrade Man. He was in charge of a battalion. These are the names that I can recall. Question, regarding the security center in Phnom Krau, which military unit it belonged to? President, hold on, Civil Party. And Counsel for Mr. Kiel Sampon, you have the floor.
Yes, Mr. President, I'd like to object to the last question. Because my colleague mentioned a name that the witness never mentioned, and this name of the security center is also not present in the civil party documents. So please do not put words in the mouth of the civil party, and put questions to him in the most neutral fashion possible. So therefore, I object to the question the way it was put.
I'll reformulate my question. Mr. Civil Party, you said that those people who came to arrest you were soldiers you formerly you knew them before, and that they belonged to a military unit where you were detained. Can you tell the chamber under which military unit was the detention center under? Answer. Of course, it belonged to the Division 920 who controlled the area. I'd like to ask you a little bit about the structure of that division, since you were a combatant in that division. Can you tell the chambers the structure of a command of that division before your arrest? Answer. I was not fully familiar with the structure of that division, and later on after my arrest I did not know anything at all about the structure. Question. Maybe my question is not clear to you. My question is that before your arrest, can you recall the structure of that Division 920? For example, how many regiments or battalions were under that division? Answer. In fact, the structure of the division follows the former structure of that division. Question. Can you tell the chamber how many regiments there were under that division when you were there? And what were the designated numbers of those regiments? Questions. There were 3 regiments, that is 91, 92, and 93 respectively. Question. And which regiment you belonged to? President Civil Party, please observe the microphone. Answer. I was directly under the division, that is, I was in charge of a company, and I did not remain with that the division permanently, since I was deployed to protect the border and also to lead the soldiers to build spikes. Question. While you were at the border area, did you actually encounter any clashes? President Civil Party, please observe the microphone. Answer. Initially in 1975, we actually went along rather well with the Vietnamese troops. And in early 1976, there were sporadic problems along the border, but it was not that serious. And then there were clashes in 1977. Then they claimed that they had a part of a territory in Koh Nhech, but then we said, how could that be possible? Because all that dam was the border demarcation, and they still insisted that they still had a territory on the other side, that is a bit further, that is 4 kilometers further. Then a report was made to the commander. Then they met in Trapengchuk for the negotiation. There were about 7 representatives on each side. They met there, and that happened in 1977. And then Angka instructed us to attack them, to smash them, and we were already preparing ourselves for the attack. Then the 7 of them came, and we actually opened fire at them first, and that's the start of the clashes along the border. So we threw instructions to shoot them. Question: I don't have much time, and I still have more points to cover. In your document, that is E3/6760A, that is on the first page for all 3 languages. You stated that I was sent to a special security office near the foot of a mountain near a tributary of the stream Oleper in Kohnye district. In your response to my colleague, you said that the stream was called Ochba, but in your document you made mention of Oleper. Can you tell us which is a correct version? Answer: maybe I made a mistake about the name of a stream. In fact, there is no Oleper stream. There is only Ochba stream, and I was detained near Ochba stream. I think I made a mistake when I said it was Oleper stream, because this event took place a long time ago, so my memory may not serve me that well. Also in the same document, on the issue of forced marriage, can you tell the chamber whether you were forced to marry your wife? Answer: at that time, Angka or the commander instructed us to marry, and I was amongst the men who were to marry, but I actually protested that proposal, and I was successful in my protest. I did not know how it happened, but I was successful in my protest. I was not forced to get married, and maybe because at that time I was rather young. And usually the marriage was arranged for those who were about 30 years old. And the same applied to female combatants, that they should be within the range of 28 and over. But I was rather young at the time, so I protested against Angka that I was so young and I didn't want to have a wife yet, and I was not punished for that. So the other combatants were organized to get married. Questioned: what about other men who got married? Can you tell the chamber whether they volunteered to get married at the time? Answer: no, they were not volunteered, or they did not fall in love with one another. They were not even aware of their future partner. There could be someone from Phnom Penh or from Siem Reap. Then they would be organized by Angkar to marry this combatant or that combatant without knowing each other beforehand. Question. My question is in relation to that particular arrangement. Could you please give a precise response since I don't have much time? Answer. Yes, I refer to what happened at the Cognate. Question. Now I move to my last topic and I only have a few questions. While you were detained in that detention center, how long were you detained there and what year was it? President Sivapati, please observe the microphone. Answer. I was detained for quite a long time. I was detained probably up to mid-July. So in total I was detained for about 6 months. Question, and what year was it? And when were you released? Answer. I fled from the prison in 1977. Question. You said that it was in 1977. And can you tell us how many months after you fled from the prisons Vietnamese troops arrived in the area? Answer. So it was in July and the Vietnamese troops arrived in 1979. So it's about a year after I fled. So it was about a year after the Vietnamese troops arrived. Question. In your response to Council Law 20, you said that there were female detainees as well in that building. Did you know how those female detainees were treated? Answer. I did not know for sure how they were treated or mistreated. And I did not know the offenses they were alleged of committing. I only knew that there were female detainees there. President, it is now convenient for a short break. We have a break now and resume at 3:05. Court officer, please assist the civil party at the waiting room during the break time and invite him back into the courtroom at 3:05. The court is now in recess.